where you are getting skilled laborers, skilled persons at low cost. So population size. Some businesses require a minimum volume of potential customers for the business model to make sense. Therefore, any changes in the population size can have a critical impact on the business. Some such changes in the population size are increase or decrease in the population's birth rate, changes in the average family size, and overall increase or decrease in the population size, impact of fast growing population on the natural resources food. Here population size means size of the population we can consider. It depends upon birth rate, right? If you compare the birth rate of India and birth rate of European countries, it is very different, right? Unbelievable that much difference is there. That is why size of population is less in European countries. In India it is more. Changes in average family size. Earlier in India, undivided families were dominating. Because of education, because of migration from villages to town, to get a job, right, to work. What happened? Nuclear families emerged out. So once in a family 30-50 members used to live together, that was reduced to two people, one husband, one wife, and one or two children. So maximum four. So average size getting reduced here, and overall increase and decrease in the population size, it's all because of the mortality rate and the birth rate or mobility. People may be moving from that particular location to another location because of several reasons. It may be it may be heavy rain, it may be natural calamities, it may be drought, it may be poverty, it may be no job. Anything can happen, but that is why a population size can decrease if people migrate to another area for living purpose. What happens in another area, definitely there will be increase in the population size. Impact of fast growing population on the natural resources and the food, everything will be affected here. If you think about Bangalore like medium city compared to Mumbai like cities, here infrastructure, we are finding infrastructure is the major problem. Mass transport is again a problem. So resources are overutilized, right? Even food also. Geographical distribution. Over the years, an organization's population target population might shift from one region of the country to another for various reasons. Hence, it is important to consider the following aspects. Here, what they are discussing is geographical locations. Earlier, one company might be doing the business in the northern part of the India. Now they are targeting the southern part of India. There is a shift in geographical target, so the company's location remains attractive to the population. As long as one company can do in particular market, they won't go try to go out. But if they find their income or the profit uh, falls in that particular location, definitely they will look for another area where they can expand their business, so that they are targeting the new set of population. If the population shift affects the quality of the available workforce, then the company must consider relocation. Because of several reasons, people will be migrating, so that company face dearth in employable skilled workforce. In such cases, company has to think to move out from that particular location. They have to relocate to where they can get the workforce. All at all times, the organization must endeavor to adapt its functions to the geographical shifts of the population. Ethnic mix. There are times when the ethnic mix of the population undergoes a change. This can affect the definition of organizational potential customers and also impact the workforce. There are several issues that need to be considered. Ethnicity is important factor, right? Understanding the implications of changes in the ethnic mix of the target population on the design and delivery of products and services. If you think about Basavanagudi in Bangalore, and if you think about Shivaji Nagar in particular, these two different locations, even though they are part of Bangalore, have complete different cultural and ethnicity. What we can sell in Basavanagudi cannot be sold in Shivaji Nagar. What in Shivaji Nagar, what we can sell abundantly cannot be sold in Basavanagudi. So here the ethnic clash. What happens if some areas it is a mix of both? In that in that population, definitely uh, design and delivery of the product and services will be different, catering your it's a different masses, different set of customers we are targeting. Is the modification of existing products or services sufficient? Because if you are catering to Basanagudi area, definitely vegetarians are more in that, and if you see in Shivaji Nagar, definitely more are non-vegetarian. If you mix of both population and a new area, in the new area like Chamarajpet or some other area, definitely you have to modify your products or services. You cannot find everyone is my customer. Only you have to target the your own customer. So you have to think upon modification of existing products or services sufficient, or you have to change it. You have to change the new to change to new one. Are the current employees ready to accept or more culturally diverse workforce? Are they ready to work with different cultured people, or with the same set of people? A strategic plan to help the organization take advantage of the increased heterogeneity in the workforce. So, because of multiculturalism, you are finding heterogeneity in the workforce. Different cultured people, different tastes and trends, different beliefs are part of the organizational culture. Handling them is really challenging. Income distribution. For any business, understanding the purchasing power of the target population is essential for designing the products and services. Any changes in income distribution in the population usually leads to changes in the saving and spending patterns. Here, what is highlighted is understand the purchasing power of the target population. See, if you are targeting the rural area, definitely you should reduce your price. Maybe you can compromise on quality as well. If you are targeting Sadashiv Nagar area in Bangalore or JP Nagar second phase, where you are finding elite families, they never look for the money. Only what they look for is the quality of the product. It is very essential. You have to understand which type of customers you are catering to. So according to that, you should design your product. So changes are always expected by the targeted population. Hence, the organization must track these changes to identify opportunities and use to their benefit. On to next style, it's internal cultural differences. International cultural differences. Under this, we already discussed this because we are talking about everything is international. Here, everything, every environment is related with the international factors. When you are thinking about international, you should understand cultural aspects are playing very vital roles. Cultural differences, let's look into that. Four major classification schemes provide frameworks for identifying international differences in culture. First, anthropologist Edward T. Hall in 1914 classified cultural differences along five different dimensions. One is time, space, things, friendships, and agreements are the major factors which contribute to cultural differences. Time is very important factor, space, things, friendships, and other agreements. Second, Clickon and Strodbeck developed a cultural orientation frameworks that identifies 6 issues with variations in each one. See in the next slide. A relation to nature, relationships among people, mode of human activity, belief about basic human nature, orientation to time, and use of space. These are highlighted by these two people. It is extension, right? Relation to nature. These are the, according to them, these are the important areas companies have to target to deal with this international cultural diversification. Third is Hofstede's framework is one of the most prominent one in international management. He identified 4 major dimensions of cultural values: individualism to collectivism, power distance, uncertainty avoidance, and masculinity, femininity, along with the fifth dimension, subsequently identified as Confucian dynamism or long-term orientation. This individualism, collectivism, power distance, uncertainty, avoidance, and masculinity, femininity is very vast concepts, right? You have studied this in organizational culture or organizational behavior. These are all belonging to psychological aspects of the human being. So uh, I don't want to get into the discussions of this individually these cultural values. Finally, Trompers and Hampden Turner extended Hofstede's classification with 7 dimensions that include universalism versus particularism, collectivism versus individualism, effective versus neutral relationships, specificity versus diffuseness, achievements versus ascription, orientation towards time, and internal versus external control. This, see, according to their theory, these are the areas if we target, we are able to tackle the cross-cultural problems which may arise in the international organizations. The 4 different classifications provide different and overlapping approaches to organize the many complex dimensions that make up culture. A major premise underlining the need for organization different cultural dimension is a means to avoid costly mistakes in conducting international businesses. The different classifications provide a map to make sense of the complex nature of culture. Important caveats to keep in mind are each classification is not exhaustive and each one originates from a particular cultural perspective. It may be 7, 6, 5, 4, whatever. The areas which are highlighted by these people have to be targeted closely after closely monitoring them. Managers have to engage in learning processes with cross cultural training to develop both cultural intelligence and international cultural competence. This is managerial activity which is required. They should learn how to deal with this kind of cultural competence at international level. Cross cultural training for international assignment encompasses a broad range of methods that may include area briefings, readings, lecture discussions, language lessons, films, self-assessment exercises, role plays, field trips, sensitivity trainings, and cultural simulations. See, when a company moves from one particular country to another country, definitely they have to hire the local guys. There comes this international cultural competence. Local people always try to dominate over the new people who come to their place. That is why cross-cultural training for international assignment is very important. Before posting them, they should, or the company should study about the locality, preferences, languages, and they have to train the employee by using all these techniques.